For our next construction in GeoGebra, we're going to make an angle bisector. So once again, go to geogebra.org and you get to this screen, select the geometry app. And what we're going to do is we're going to make an angle, and then we're going to cut it in half and measure and show that the angle is exactly cut in half. Now, to make an angle, we're not going to use lines or segments. An angle is made up of something called a ray. A ray is somewhere between a line and an angle. It starts at one point and then goes on forever in one direction. So if you scroll down the tools on the side, under lines, you have a couple different options. We're looking for the option that says ray. If you click on the screen with the ray tool, you get what looks sort of like a line on one side and a segment on the other side. So I got points A and B here. I'm going to make a second ray. I'm going to click on point A again and then click somewhere else for point C. So now I've created an angle. So no big deal. You can move the angle around. Nothing too exciting here. You can make it bigger, make it smaller. Doesn't matter how big or small your angle is. What we want to do is we're going to want to measure it, and then we're going to cut it in half. So next tool, we've done this before. We're going to measure our angle. This one's not going to come out to 90 degrees, or probably not. So under the measure options, select the measure angle tool and click the 3 points. Remember, the corner of the angle, what's called the vertex, has to be the middle letter you click. And if you're like me, that number is kind of wedged in there and maybe you can't see it very well. If you go back to the arrow tool where you can move stuff around, you can drag it out where you can see it better. All right, so now we have our angle. It's a 51-degree angle. And what I want to do is cut it in half. Let's see if I make this a nice, easy number. Say if I make it 40, I want a line that cuts right through the middle, making two 20-degree angles out of this 40-degree angle. That's called bisecting it, or cutting it in half. So we're going to construct a bisector. GeoGebra does that nice and easy for us. If you go up to the construction tools, one of them says angle bisector. So you can select that tool, and we're going to click the 3 points. And again, you got to click them in the right order. The vertex or corner of the angle has to be the middle letter. So you can click point B, then A, then C, or C, then A, then B, but A has to be the middle letter. So I'm going to click point C, then point A, and then point B. And then if you move the angle around, you can see that that line that we just created sticks right in the middle. Now, I don't really want it to be a line because when we're talking about angles, we like to use rays. So what we're going to do is we're going to turn this thing into a ray. To do that, I need to have 2 points that are on this line, and then I'll recreate it with a ray. So I'm going to put a point on this line that we can use. So you're going to scroll back up to your tools on the top and find a point tool. And then on the inside or interior of the angle, on the new line that popped up, we're going to click and put this new point. It doesn't matter if you put it close to the angle or far from the angle. Don't put it on the other side. We want it on the inside or interior of the angle. And now this line, which is making things a little bit confusing, we're going to make this go away. So you're going to select that arrow tool on the bottom. We're going to click on this line that the computer created for us, and we're going to make it go away. So when you click on it, you get this little menu. We're going to go to the 3 dots, settings, and we're going to uncheck the box that says show object. So if you uncheck that, and then we can close this, now you'll notice that line disappeared, but the point is staying right in the middle of the angle, which is what we want here. So now what we're going to do is we're going to use that point and the vertex, or point A in this case, to create a ray that goes right through the middle. So I'm going to go back to the different lines. I'm going to find ray. I'm going to start by clicking on the vertex, and then this new point that's in the middle of the angle. And now I've got my ray. So if I make the angle smaller, the ray kind of moves with it, and it's always going right through the middle of the angle. So the next step is to make it so that we can see that. First thing I'm going to do is I'm going to make my bisector. I'm going to change its color. So I click on it and color, make it red. Ooh, how pretty. Now, if we have our big angle is, let's say I'm going to make mine 60 degrees. Yours does not have to be 60, but this will just make it easier for us to understand what we're doing. I want to show that each of the 2 small angles are 30 degrees. So I'm going to measure those angles. So back to the angle measurement tool, and I'm going to measure the top angle, angle BAD, and the bottom angle, angle CAD. Now what you notice is, again, it's all crammed together here. It's kind of hard to see, so what we're going to do is we're going to go to the arrow tool and pull those measurements out a bit so we can see them. And frankly, it's still a little bit crowded, but we can make this easier to follow. If I click on one of my new 30 degrees, one of the smaller angles, I can click on it and change its color. I'll make that angle blue, and maybe I make it really obviously blue by dragging that thing up. So now I got a 30-degree blue angle. I'll do the same thing. I'll take the other angle and make it green, and let's make it really big so we can see that. So now what we have here is we got a blue angle and a green angle that are the same measure, and they add up to this angle here in the middle. In other words, the big angle, the one you started with originally, is now cut in half. And as you move this around, you can see that no matter what, the angle is cut in half. There might be a tiny rounding error here or there, but it should be pretty close. It should work out pretty well. Once you have this drawn, call your teacher over to check it out.